and vice versa. So our artwork comes from our heart, and what you say and do around other people's art can hurt. So please, good. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Art with Liz here at the beautiful Hoboken Library. I welcome those of you who are coming from the privacy of your studios and those of you who are here in person. Mega thanks to the Hoboken Public Library for making these hybrid classes available to all. We are starting a whole new month with a whole new theme here in Hoboken, New Jersey. Our theme for this month, as it is maybe all over the world, is poetry. It is National Poetry Month in the United States of America. And we are going to be looking at, for the entire month, artists who were either inspired by poetry or who themselves inspired poets. We're going to start off the month with a whole movement of artists and writers and musicians who worked together. And they created an entire movement of art and literature and music called Romanticism. The Romantic period of art started, give me one moment, started towards the end of the 18th century. And the purpose of the movement was to advocate for the importance of subjectivity, imagination, and appreciation of nature in society and culture. And this was in response to the Age of Enlightenment and the Industrial Revolution. And Romanticism started primarily in Europe. We are going to start with a slideshow of their work for you folks to look at. These are artists we have looked at individually in the past, but we are going to look at them as a small group. There were many, many artists involved with Romanticism in Europe. I have chosen 3 for us to focus on today. Laura, if you could turn sharing on for me, please. So here we go. We are looking at these 3 artists, visual artists, Francisco Goya, Eugène Delacroix, and John Constable. Here we go. So this first painting is by Goya. Goya was a Spanish painter. He lived from March 30th, 1746 until April 16th, 1828. He was a Romantic painter and printmaker, and he is considered the most important Spanish artist of the late 18th and early 19th centuries. His paintings, drawings, and engravings reflected contemporary historical upheavals and influenced important 19th and 20th century painters. He's often considered to be the last of the old masters and the first of the new modern painters in Europe. His early paintings were very light and lovely, like this one, but as he aged, he suffered dreadful illnesses, and his paintings became darker and darker, and they started to reflect a very bleak outlook about himself and about the changes that were happening in the larger social world that he was living in at that time. And we'll talk further about that as we progress in the slideshow. The Romanticists rejected all of the social conventions, all the rules of society at that time, and they started thinking about a moral outlook that was known as individualism. They argued that passion and intuition were important, crucial to understanding the world. They believed that beauty is more than just a thing about affair of form, but something that evokes a strong emotional response. So up until that point in the art world, they thought that beauty was about color, line, shape, and form. It was just a part of constructing the visual picture. But the Romantics started thinking about beauty as a way to show passion and feeling and emotion. And the poets and musicians believed that also. They had this reverence for nature and the supernatural. They idealized the past as a nobler era. And they had a fascination with the exotic and mysterious. They celebrated the heroic and the sublime. They had a special fondness for the Middle Ages, and they loved chivalry and, again, this heroism. They thought that there was this true organic relationship between humans and the environment. That was something completely new. This is another Goya, and this is from the darker period of his life. At that time in Europe, there was a great deal of war going on, and he reflected that imagery, the Sturm und Drang, which is, the German expression about humans at war with each other, the emotion and horror of war that was going on in his paintings. He was very much involved with trying to convey this sense of passion in his work. So this is one of his more famous paintings. He did a whole series about the disasters of war. His paintings get kind of bloody. Looking at you, Jackie. It's fine. Okay, good. He also did paintings like this. He was actually commissioned to do one of his most famous paintings called The Naked Maha. This is a version of the woman clothed, however, obviously. Look who's here. Hi, Soph. You guys could sit on that side, I guess. Okay. So there is a sense of passion, love for beauty in this painting. Not all of Goya's paintings were about sadness and war, as you can see in this one. Beautiful use of light and dark in this image. He spent most of his life in Spain, but near the end of his life, he left Spain to live in France. And he suffered a stroke, which left him paralyzed on his right side, and unfortunately suffered from failing eyesight. Another Goya, much more on the dark side of feelings, tempestuous side of feelings, but very much in the romantic tradition. It is thought that Romanticism peaked from 1800 until 1850. It was a complex movement with a variety of viewpoints that was a large part of Western civilization across the globe. And at its end, Romantic thought and art exerted a huge influence on art and music, philosophy, politics, and environmentalism. And it's very different from the romanticizing we talk about today. It was something of its time and part of that historical moment. And the Romantic painters sympathized with the ideals and achievements of the French revolutionaries. With the coming of realism and naturalism and Charles Darwin's publishing of The Origin of the Species, however, Romanticism went into a decline, and the impact of technology and urbanization on the working class really was the death knell for Romanticism. By World War I, Romanticism was coming to a total end. New cultural, social, and political movements, many of them hostile to the Romantics, put an end to Romanticism. It has left a lasting impact. Many works of art, music, and literature that embody romantic ideals have been made after the end of the Romantic era. And much of the efforts we have in conservation and ecology come from this period of history. Many of the film scores from the golden age of Hollywood are part of the lush orchestral romantic style of music. Again, the style is characterized by its emphasis on emotion and individualism. So this is the work of Eugène Delacroix. Delacroix was a Frenchman, and Delacroix was born April 26, 1798, and died August 13th, 1863. And he was regarded as the leader of the French Romantic school. He was inspired by the art of Rubens and the painters from the Venetian Renaissance. So unlike his contemporary, and actually kind of a little bit before him, the great Ingres, he was not attracted to realism. He didn't like the classical art of the Greeks and Romans, but he traveled all the way to North Africa in search of the exotic. So he was more attracted to mythology, ancient mythology, but not in the style of the classical Greek and Romans. He didn't like sentimentality or bombast. Delacroix was an individualist. He was in love with passion, but coldly determined to express passion as clearly as possible. He was, with Ingres, considered to be the last old master, one of the last old masters of painting. Another Delacroix. Very stormy, right? Showing a lot of passion in this one. His work was so influential to artists who followed him, including the Impressionists and the Symbolist movement. He loved William Shakespeare, which is going to lead us into the poet we're going to look at today. I haven't forgotten our poetry theme. He illustrated several works by William Shakespeare and also Goethe, the German author, and Walter Scott, the Scottish author. Another Delacroix. Talk about emotion. Look at this woman's face. Interesting personal fact about Delacroix. His father was probably Talleyrand, and Talleyrand was an official in the French government. And so Delacroix, the father, was probably not his father. So Talleyrand was the Minister of Foreign Affairs for, I think, Louis XIV, right? And he ran the French government into the ground. It's one of the reasons that Louis XIV and Marie Antoinette ended up on the guillotine. Beautiful, beautiful skills. Now, the Romantics had the classical skills, but they did not paint as carefully as their predecessors. They weren't interested in photographic realism. Again, they wanted to do this showing of emotion and feelings, and they believed that their artwork could convey those feelings. But look at the way the light hits the shoulders and the neck of this young woman. I mean, it looks like if you touched it, it would be warm to the touch, right? It looks so real to me. But that wasn't his intent. Probably his most famous painting. The title is something about liberty. I should remember, but I don't. Anyone who wants to look it up? Liberty leading the people. Thank you. And remember what I said, that the Romantics were heavily influenced by the philosophies and beliefs of the French Revolution. And definitely you can see it in Delacroix's work. And he, was very, very well known across Europe. He was probably one of the greatest Romantic painters of his day. He did travel to North Africa. He loved the landscape and culture of North Africa, and it opened up a lot of doors of expression for him in his work. Sources of inspiration over his career were Shakespeare and Lord Byron, the artistry of Michelangelo, and he worked to music. He loved the work of Chopin and Beethoven, also very, very passionate artists. If you listen to their music, you feel the emotion in their work. So this is the artwork of John Constable. Constable was a British painter, and Constable never reached the level of fame that the European continental artists did. He was born in 1776, June 11th, and died in March 1837. And he was a landscape painter. He did gained some notoriety for the very looser brushstroke that he used. He broke away from tradition by not doing incredibly realistic renditions of what he was seeing. And he was one of the first artists who worked from sketches. And he worked out of doors, which was like unheard of at that time. He is often attributed to being one of the founders or forefathers of Impressionism because he started this whole concept of working directly from nature. He never really was able to make a living. At one point, he did inherit quite a bit of money from his wife, who died, unfortunately, at a young age, but he mismanaged those funds and he struggled financially for his entire life. This is one of the paintings that launched his career, however. I think it's a cathedral, obviously. I think this is Salisbury Cathedral from the bishop's grounds. But he became famous for these very wild skies. He loved painting these wild and crazy storms. Another British romantic painter that we've looked at is J.M.W. Turner, also famous for these wild and crazy skies. And Turner painted his works usually of the sea and beautiful skies like this.
Oh, well, you kind of remind me of how much I have to go through, paint clouds.
Yeah, absolutely. Constable painted large. He did series of 6-foot long paintings. Come in, welcome. Delacroix loved Constable's work. So Delacroix was one of the people who helped Constable make a name for himself, but Constable never really made it financially. Oh, we're back to Goya. This is Goya during his Black Dark period. Remember, the Romantics loved mythology, and Goya became quite famous for these images from mythology, very dark, end of the world images. I think I have another Goya that's even more disturbing. So be prepared. All right, I'm going to start going through these quicker. I think you get a sense of what the Romantic artists were doing. Oh, yeah, here's the Goya. Yeah. And this is what Goya is mostly known for. This is the work that people go to museums to see.
Yeah, I know that one. It's the god Chronos eating his children.
Yes.
Again.
So it is definitely make believe. This is not reality.
It's Greek mythology. That's Chronos eating his children.
Yes. So this is a Delacroix. Back to the French painter. A lot of emotion in this one. And again, the dark and wild sky, whipped by wind and storm. And this one I did not label. This, I believe, is a Goya in his happier days. I thought I had another one of, I'm sorry to say that I don't have it up. Oh, wait. No, I thought I had another Constable. Constable did these amazing full-scale oil sketches that no one ever did before. They were observational studies of landscapes and clouds. He was the first person to ever have really done that directly in oils while sitting outside. And they were such a huge inspiration for the Impressionist painters. Might put it up on the big screen later. All right. Any other thoughts, comments, ideas? You know what? I'm going to try and find that constable. I'm going to put it up on the large screen. Next. And I'm going to read a poem by William Shakespeare because he was a huge influence on the Romantic artists. Let's see if I can, here it is. I have 10 copies of the Shakespeare poem that I'm going to hand out if people could share it with people next to them while I read it. That would be awesome. Stop this for a moment. So this is one of Constable's oil sketches. Folks at home, can you see it? Great.
Yes.
All right. So the poem, give me 1 second, everyone. Suddenly I can't find the poem. Here. Jackie, I'm going to ask you, please, if you could take one and pass it around. Maybe, I don't know if there's enough for every 2 people, maybe every 3 people could take a copy of the poem. Those of you who get my emails, you did get it in advance, right? Because it is National Poetry Month, I thought it would be fun to look at these artists who either have been inspired by poetry or who have been inspired by poets. And today I've chosen William Shakespeare. You can look it up on your smartphone if you didn't get a copy to read along with. It is called Sonnet 116. And I'm not going to do it justice, I'm sure. It is called Let Me Not to the Marriage of True Minds. And it's a sonnet by William Shakespeare. Let me not to the marriage of true minds admit impediments. Love is not love which alters when it alteration finds, or bends with the remover to remove. Oh no. It is an ever fixed mark that looks on tempests and is never shaken. It is the star to every wandering bark whose worth unknown, although his height be taken. Love's not time's fool, though rosy lips and cheeks within his bending sickle's compass come. Love alters not with his brief hours and weeks, but bears it out even to the edge of doom. If this be error and upon me proved, I never writ, nor no man ever loved. Again, William Shakespeare. Seems to fit with this painting, I think. That looks on tempests and is never shaken. Love sticks around, no matter what. Ken.
One of the things I was fascinated by when I first Shakespeare in the school library is the language and the sound of it. An interesting thing that you all might want to look up is how the language of Shakespeare's time is similar to now, but different. You can tell from the rhymes in this poem that certain words have shifted pronunciation. So, like for example, or bends with the remote or to remote. It's closer to how they pronounce it. It's remote kind of rhymes with love. Or we say food, or food. They pronounce it closer to love. That's why it's spelled similar.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
You find like one of the actors that did their research and tried to speak it the way they reconstruct must have sounded in Shakespeare's time. That was the common language of the time. As he wrote for now, it wasn't this elevated.
Yes, Shakespeare did not write for the royalty. He wrote for the average man. And
you hear these actors who reconstruct the original station. You hear Romeo and Juliet speak to each other. Sounds much more passionate than we might have heard it now, sharper than the actors.
Cool. So for those of you at home, I don't know if you heard Ken, but he's saying the language that was used during Shakespeare's time is, correct me if I'm wrong, Ken, you're saying it's more like the way we speak today.
No, I don't. We've changed the pronunciation.
We've changed the pronunciation, okay.
So if you listen to the reconstructed accent, it actually sounds more
emotive, more emotional.
I don't know.
More like the language you think like the common people.
More street language.
There'll be more of an accent. They won't be the received.
Okay. So the pronunciation was different. Old English was different from what we speak. Okay.
It was a lot livelier and much more interesting.
Much more passionate.
Language than any language I've ever in English that I've ever heard.
What language?
Shakespeare. I mean, it's if you can appreciate it, it is so beautiful. And I wish we spoke that way.
All right, from Eileen, Shakespearean language is more beautiful than anything she's ever heard.
Oh, we don't rhyme for every sentence that we do.
Unless you're a hip hop person.
Figured out because there were strict rhyming rules. That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
There's a lot of rhythm, and I'm not exactly an expert about Shakespeare, but this poem is kind of probably him complaining that he couldn't get a girlfriend.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know about that. All right. So I'm not a historian of poetry, nor of Shakespeare's life. He did have a wife and children, so I don't know. The point I'm trying to make is the connection between the written word and art has been strong from long ago till today. There are still artists who are inspired by poetry, and we will look at more modern poetry in the weeks to come, as well as poetry from different countries and how it affects visual artists. And I invite you folks to experiment with your own work. Look for poems in your off hour and see if it affects the way you think about your own visual work. All right, I loved everybody's comments today. I think they were perceptive and wonderful. Projects for you folks today. For those of you who are here in person, acrylic paint. We have pencils. We have soft pastels. We have oil pastels, lead pencils, and white drawing paper. You can go in many different directions today. You could create a landscape, a stormy landscape like this. You could copy a figurative romantic painting. You could think of a hero in your own life. The romantic painters were all involved with heroic acts. Create a portrait of a hero in your life. You could copy a Goya or a Delacroix or a Constable. Any questions? You may do it in whatever media is available to you. Folks at home, same instructions. Let me go through the choices again. Or you could find another Shakespeare sonnet or this sonnet and create some kind of image that is visual, connected to what you heard from the poem. So here are your choices. A piece of art inspired by the sound or the words that you heard in the love poem by William Shakespeare. You could do a landscape in the very stormy style of Constable. So that's two choices. You could think of a hero in your life and create a portrait to that hero. You could copy a Constable, Goya, or Delacroix. And I think that's it. Did I miss one? No. So that's a lot of choices. Or you can create your own project. I'm looking at you, Sophie. You always come up with great ideas. Let's go to work. No questions? Any questions? Let's have some serious fun. And a reminder, Laura brought in the candy and flowers for our fellow colleague, John, who unfortunately passed away. So enjoy, and thank you, Laura, for sharing. Folks at home, you're good to go. No questions. Yunzi, you can keep working on the piece you started last week. That's what you wanted to do. Sure, if you want to keep the Shakespeare poems, please do. I brought them for you. I didn't know how many people were coming, so I only did 10. I don't like to waste paper. Eileen, you could do your pirate hero again if you want. Do her big this time, like Constable, work large. Do we like the image of Constable up on the big screen, or do you want me to put something else?
That's good.
I love this painting.
It seems like on the left side of the painting, he's very realistic and you can tell that it's clouds. But on the right side, it looks like he just sort of went
Wild. Yeah.
This is how
I think this is one of his oil sketches. So I think that this is a sketch for a more finished work. He was probably one of the very first artists who did that, if not the first.
The poem? What kind of poem?
I handed it out. I have one copy for myself. You could ask others, Donna.
Sure.
Alice wanted to keep hers though, Donna.
have it on, I have it in the email.
I'll try them.
Okay. Alice, Donna got another one. Thank you, Jeff. If anyone is having problems with ideas, let me know.
And she can do her-
Oh, shoot. I have the keys to the volunteer bathroom at a place where I volunteer.
Oh,
You're right.
Good.
I would think that people think that it's how we talk, but we don't technically write everything.
Oh, no, it was.
And if you'd rather use another.
Oh,
That's another
like,
idea.
how do you want it to do this? So, I've never, so you go like Google and say, find a word that rhymes. I would shake. I say, soreness.
Yeah, I know.
It's totally hard.
Well, it is harder, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, I needed that, like, for example, you know, let's say they go to a restaurant, I think hey, I'm like, you know, right, you know, that one.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Or go to the.
Oh, yeah, okay, all right.
That one.
So like.
I said, oh, Maureen, nice to meet you.
All right.
Here's Joanne. Don't forget about the talk. Oh, I see. I'm sorry. Yes, I got Me too. I don't think it's time to say. They're kind of tricky. Yeah. It'll be nice. I know. Right. Yeah, never should. Love is not love, love all. You know, it's kind of tricky because we always think one of these ideas. Yeah. And we do joy. Yeah, exactly, exactly. I cannot draw people, but I'm gonna try this. But anyway. So. Yeah, right.
Everybody good? Found everything you need? Yes, I was watching you pull it out. That's why I said,
Yeah.
do your
Yeah.
hero
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
I would love to see it bigger.
Larger scale.
Yeah.
We got a potion. Like it. I got like a monster. I got something like beautiful. Oh, hi. I can actually give you another one. I have three. Not this one. Are you gonna do it here? Byron. Yeah. A lot of stuff. Do a swap. Again, the three artists we looked at were Goya, Goya, Delacroix, Delacroix, the Frenchman, Constant, Constable, Constable that's up on the screen. Not looking for folks to replicate
These are stepping off points for you, starting points for you to create your own work of art. So I have learned that if you take a picture of it, you can do a Google search, visual Google. Oh, sorry, that's not a- Yes, turn that off. I would put it on
I'm so impressed. Okay. I have to sit and think.
Let me mess.
I know, it's not common sense.
Yeah, I wish people could stand on that pop up.
Oh, so this one online.
No, no, I couldn't. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes.
Very inventive. I'm looking for her too. She holds up her hand, but I don't know. This show bound. Oh, I know it. I own it. Somebody owns it. So this is the girl where she did out in the morning. The big thing. Yeah. You know, because you still. Fortunately, I'm not reading. Saying that, this. All right, see you next week. Have people, did you watch the Ken Burns? It was a 2-night series. Henry Thoreau. Oh, that was fantastic. Or Thoreau, I'm not quite sure. Yeah, they changed it. They did. I learned Thoreau and they call it Thoreau. They changed it. Maybe it's the right one. It's the right one. I learned that in school. That's it was fabulous. It's really well done. I mean, I wish I'd known. It's masterless, not horrible movie. They were people, you know. I can see it on Facebook. Some guy from Daddy on in those days. So there were romantics in there, concerned for the environment, and then people like Crow started the whole environmental
Surprising. Man. Yeah, Ursula. It's manufactured. Okay. That's not good. Oops. Oh, sad it was work. Size of it. Open end of it. Yeah, this is. You're gonna use coloring. Yeah. Not like this.
Yeah.
It was Monday or Tuesday. If you're a member, you can go online and. Worth it though, there's something called password. And you can see any show. For free, then you can see. What happened? I think you can do that. Maybe you can try. You can watch live. You can watch. I don't know if there's live on the flat. The son showed me how to connect the flat. Yeah.
I know, I'm actually trying to. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, back to that book. Right, yeah, book. The thing with that, passing. I got a word. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yes. You you're out first. Exactly, you know, the lady, you know that, Uncle his beer that you know that Chuck Berry will probably think that if you don't talk, you don't talk that you'll get real, for example, you know that Chuck Berry didn't die. He actually took that's like you know, they thought it was kind of like a yeah. So a copy. Yes, he doesn't.
We good at home? You can see you're good? Good. That makes me happy.
That must be Goya. Goya's dark. Goya. Oh, Goya. Goya. So hard. Make it bigger. That's a good scrap. It's so hard, but you know, it's a little wider. I'm not thinking that. Just fine. It's harder to blend, but when you blend it,
I try to find that. Maybe it's Tuesday every night. Oh, she said, she thinks she did that. Right, but she was asking to lead, it's their lead. Oh, good.
I know from that, of course.
I know.
It's red. No, there's no red. That's what sad.
I went back to coloring and I was very surprised. I know, just relax.
If you didn't get rid of it.
Oh, with the. I didn't. Okay, sorry.
Because I think with your ideas, it's, yeah.
Yeah, you're right, you're right. Okay, I'm new to art. Thank you.
Yeah, before you throw something out, see it first. I'm seeing the impulse with her.
Yeah.
Not very high. No. Put that up, raise down.
Well, it's salvageable, but there are many of them stuck together, there's kind of this. There you go, there's my screen. Well, I liked it, and then I just started. And then I just lost it, yes, and then I liked it. Because when I tried to be realistic, I said, I can't be realistic, so the only one. Just do any parts, and then I just called it life. Yeah, and then that's supposed to be sun, so that's supposed to be clouds. And
What made you pick up?
I think just that if something is being said, it should be real. And then I realized this green, I meant it to be grass, but then but this is so pretty. The green should have been over here. Yeah. And then I almost went, I was. But I didn't, but now you're this. So, grass is grass.
So here's what I would recommend.
Yeah.
We'll put this away.
Okay.
Move out of it. Okay. If you want to do something realistic, you need to start by looking at it.
Right.
I'm not recreate realism without having something realistic to look at. I don't know what you want. Mine, but never be able to.
Right, right.
And just find a picture that will help you start to think this. Something.
Right.
We're going to try and make that something that's realistic.
Yeah, I would like to try to work on that. If you want to. I mean, I tried to do the clouds and stuff. I got the, I counted them.
Oh, that's not her.
Yeah,
That's not the phone. I gave you a class. Name color. Anyone who wants a review in color mixing, come on up.
yeah.
Yeah.
You need to move on.
No, you're getting a piece of paper. Then we try. Mix. Proportion for the sort of yellow. That is a little green. Yeah, I know. I mean, you get very good purple. No, I know that. Make it see if it's there. Yes. One. Like small. Problem with these paints is they're not very high quality. And have a hard time getting. I swear there's primary color. Well, they go. Every page, they write. Less. I'm sorry. Violet. Yeah, I remember. Yes, I couldn't remember when she said his name. Yeah. That's it. Iron. The opposite of orange. Brown. Oh, absolutely. Opposite is pink. Well, it's red. Sorry, what? Mix the opposite three. And lighter and darker. If you want the right tints. Or if you want what? Oh, good. Darker too. Oh. Uh-oh. That would be good in. And now I'm neutralizing, trying to color it. Trying to do natural color. Is that right? So bright red, like yellow. I mean, flowers might be that. So red. Red. Dark brown. More green. Questions? Okay. Give up. I know. You know, the thing about that, those kind of, is they're messy, you know, that, I don't like that because it's powder. Oh, the chalk iron. Yeah. I don't like that. Too much. I don't like it. This is where it is very. Why? Nice, you get a fun, think of it. He can't wait.
Started, I didn't like that.
I just want to give you something. I want to experiment. I'm gonna make a recipe. I heard that I do have one of those for aerosols. And I have these aerosols that just.
Oh, aerosols.
And I want to experiment. Or something, and I want to see if I put it on, something like that. I wonder if it ruins the tasting, something like that.
Are you gonna bring it home and try it? I could be bringing it home and try it. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna try it. If it ruins the tasting or it doesn't work. Because they told me that in order to serve work like this, you gotta use the aerosol. So.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Although that mostly good, I heard like acrylic, but when it's not that down, I don't know if it's gonna work or not, so I make an experiment.
Red with yellow makes orange, red makes purple. So you can figure out mixing red, yellow, and blue. So it's always been. Yellow, your face is right.
Yeah.
Just look the same as always. If you wanted to know red, then I would. It's just that it's not as long as that orange. I want to show it. I can see it. If I should make this longer without the cord. You need the hand. That's true. Shoulder. Up here. Otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah. This kind of landscape. I want to dry your cross. And then you can just start mixing colors.
Watercolor and.
No, it's just color.
When you do.
But I think it's water.
Watercolor.
Red, dark, okay, in the middle. Right?
The Western. Like your bird.
Thank you.
Goes there, and then just go wild with the sky. I haven't been paying attention to the time, guys. Oh, it's time to clean up. Sorry about that. Anyone here want to share quickly?
I'm ready.
You ready? Okay, you've already cleaned up too, Daniel. So I'm going to stop the share of this painting. Sorry, those of you who are working on it. We've been working so intensely. Oh, and it looks like our folks at home had to leave. except for Young Z. If you want to share, we're going to do the people sharing here first, Young Z. Young Z, we're going to do the people here first. Okay, because we did people at home first last week. All right, Daniel, come on up.
Stop for a second and give Dan pretty awesome, right?
I call this piece Chuck Norris didn't die. He just walked into the horizon. He died, yeah. Two weeks ago. About 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love this one. I want to take a picture so I can follow yours. That's amazing.
Well done.
Excuse me?
Love the sky.
Excuse me? Yeah, I'm not very good at, drawing canyons and all that stuff.
Stop, guys, please stop saying negative things about the work.
I'll say I'm negative. I'll say I'm negative. Criticizing constructively.
Done well. The facial features are in proportion. Really well drawn.
And it was always like chalk or whatever.
Pastel.
Pastel.
But the black lines are the oiling one. I don't remember what it's named. The crayon.
Like the black outline and around the collar of clothing too, the face.
Mhm.
Good job, Danny. Thank you. All right, who's next? Where's Sophia, you want to share? You want to share your what? Are you going to share? Yours not me. She's going to share. Are you what with that? No, can you share? Will you let me help you? Yeah.
If I hold it up, you can talk about it. Can you reach? Oh yeah, what? Are the colors fab? They're great, Sophia. Good job. Does it have a name, a title? Like sunrise?
Yeah, it is.
It's a sunrise. Really, there's a lot of emotion and feeling in this too. I love it. Awesome. Tell mom and dad to hang this up when you get home. Okay.
Okay.
It's well done. I love how Sophia filled up the entire page. Note to all artists, that should be your goal. Well done. Thank you, Sophia. Thank you for sharing. Yours is pretty awesome, Deanna.
Liz, you want us to wipe out the excess? Before we.
If you are a good environmentalist, yes, you can watch it for me. Joy, so you like the
Yeah, I'm gonna wipe out.
I'll bring it over.
If you're cleaning now, please do it without talking, because we're sharing.
I'll keep the question.
Right, Joy, wow. So Joy did a really interesting technique. She worked in the soft pastel and then took a wet paintbrush and painted over the soft pastel. Which created this beautiful blur technique and also fixes the soft pastel. It's not going to rub out now or blend any further. It's really, really nice.
So say it again, soft pastel, when you fill it over.
Just white.
No, water. I'm gonna ask you again, Joy, next week.
Suzanne? Oh. You don't have to share. Sharing is a good way to get ideas, though, and suggestions.
It's pastel and the wood and water.
Do you want to share yours?
Yeah. Yeah.
Journey.
Yeah. Okay.
Mara. So what? Showing works in progress, again, is a good way to get ideas and suggestions for your next piece of art or for the piece of art that's working. Right, Tamara worked only in acrylic. It's pretty awesome. She was the constable. Very cool. I love the textural effect. Well done.
So you did pastel or white and black? I'm not, yeah. I'm just gonna try. So pastel. Oh, yeah, that's what. Oh, it is. Yeah, it's a little color. It's for.
Yeah,
Okay, you go.
you go, it's a tree branch.
Nice. It's really, really, really.
I love this close-up. I have never seen a close-up of tree branch drawing.
good texture.
Yeah. It looks like a tree branch is growing all over.
Yes, I love the details to how others draw details.
This oil pastel.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Your name pronounced beautiful.
The other one.
Yes, I know.
Oh,
you.
you.
Thank you. Beautifully done.
Okay. It's still a work in progress, but
What's your inspiration for this?
oh, well, you know that Shakespeare poem. So I'm thinking of a heart, but I'm calling this the open heart because it's been open.
It's like a broken part.
It is. It opened up from the inside, and I'm trying to draw. I need to get some reference images. I'm trying to draw like a couple of feathers, like maybe a white feather and a red feather next to it. And the background is just experimenting with yellow and white paint. So yeah, I need to add maybe some shadow under it or something, and just be crisper with the lines and the shape of it. Yeah, a little fuzzy. So yeah, I mean, it is broken, but it's also open, meaning something grew out of it and flew away.
To the next event.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, it was the guy that did a lot of strip. It was kind of eccentric. Yeah.
Right, we didn't see us.
And do all kinds of.
And you were definitely looking at the constable.
Yeah, the picture.
Yeah, this is one of your better. Yeah. Beautiful color. Eileen, you must share.
Yeah. I'm not finished. Gonna bring it once. The original big doll. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's.
Means.
Oops. Okay, about how many years ago? I did this about 3 years ago in this class. This is a woman pirate. I'm inspired by a woman pirate when I was in 8th grade.
Wow.
I saw a movie called Anne of the Indies, and it's a true story. She was a woman pirate in the Caribbean.
Okay.
Okay, then today I'm trying to make it bigger. I don't it's hard. It's hard.
Oh, yeah, very good.
It's harder when
when it's bigger.
When it grows.
Growth, growth from 8th grade.
Don't look like it's OT ear.
Well, whatever. I did it in a hurry. Yeah, it's much
Oh,
better. I did it in a
Well
hurry.
done.
Whoa. So all I have to do is
Be
fall.
careful. And sir, I like it.
You like mine? Yeah, show me first, come on. Okay.
Oh, good. Are you gonna?
The last one.
Yeah, like this.
Look at
Wow,
that.
it's like Japanese painting.
It's Delacroix, right?
Yeah.
Goya.
Oh, no, this is Goya, Goya.
Goya. Well done. Jackie. That's like the royal family, Spanish royal family. I mean, it's a detail. One is larger.
Wow, I love how you express the sky.
That's very,
This is the thing I want to improve for myself to describe sky.
exactly the same color as Constable. Really nice. All right, Donna.
See.
Good.
Find me? Find me like that. I have
Beautiful, Donna.
these
Colored
people,
pencil?
yeah, it's not finished yet. Needs more
Really nice.
depth of field.
Were you looking at a photograph when you did this, or?
Yeah, I took a photograph in the snow in the woods, and this boy and his father just got for Christmas a new flying bug. What do you call those things? And they were flying it down this trail and going in and out of these trees, going all this whole length of trees, and they're going. I can't figure out where I'm going. They're going up and down this lane, and this thing was flying up and down this lane here, and he's flying it with his little control pad. And I thought, what a nice little depth of field picture that would make with all these
It is
trees
great
in a
depth
row.
of field. Well done.
Okay.
Excellent.
Can I finish it?
Yeah, wait to see it when it's done. Bring it next time. All right, Young Si, your turn. I'm going to spotlight you. Hold on.
Can you see it?
Being patient.
What's light?
Oh, wow. Excuse me. Excuse me. Go ahead and tell us about it.
I followed Goya. I wanted to, so I mixed the pencil color and the watercolor. The two people are pencil colors. The background, anything except the two people are watercolor.
No, you're gaining in confidence in your work. It's wonderful. When it gets drier, you want to make it a little bit darker.
Uh-huh.
Especially behind the figures, behind the people, so that they really stand out.
Oh,
Really great.
okay. Thank you.
Well done. Good job. I love when you take that deep sigh of relief. Bravo. All right, good job, everyone. If you have not cleaned up yet, please do so. And I will see everyone next week.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And is it time for me to say goodbye to everyone? I seem to have lost my cell phone. Oh, it is. So goodbye, everyone. Until next week, we will look at more and listen to more poetry and enjoy another artist, either inspired by poetry or a poet inspired by visual art, or poets and artists inspired by each other. Happy National Poetry Month, Art On, and I